Welcome to the Happiness Playbook, a podcast that supports your journey to happiness. We believe the premise that happiness is a skill and not a circumstance. I'm your happiness coach, Michael Anderson, and I'm here to help you in your happiness journey and to achieve your happiness goals. Today, we usually start with the good news, and sadly, we have to start with the hard news. And so this episode is a tribute to Jeremy Lapointe, one of my best friends. Jeremy is and was a fantastic support to this program. He helped us in the Happiness Playbook. He helped to he donated some of these supplies, but he also donated a ton of his volunteer time. He volunteered so much time to Take Note Troop, our theater nonprofit organization. And he was an incredible help, not just to the organization, but to me. And I've been running that organization under the board of directors for 2 years now. And it was about 2.5 years ago that I met him. And so this is going to be a tribute to him. And I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer for this episode. This isn't a religious podcast by any means. Religion isn't a taboo necessarily. We're open to talking about it. But today, there's going to be some religious beliefs shared. And if you're not about that, that's okay. But I think it's appropriate considering that both Jeremy and I, we shared the same religious beliefs. And so I want to share that with you. And I think that that's what he would like me to do. So thank you for joining us with that. And if you are just here to listen to that, then that's okay. The family also needs your help. Part of the purpose of doing this podcast today is that it's a fundraiser. And there is a fundraiser that is linked in the description. So please take a look at that, and anything that you can donate to help the family would be really helpful. He, in the time that I've known him, he had lost a job and he had a transition, and then he ended up owning a handyman business that he grew, and it was doing really well. But in the process of all of that, he was not able to arrange life insurance for him and for his family. So they need your help. And he thought he had more time. So please help to make up some of that time that he wished he had to get those things in order. We had recently talked about it, and he really did think he had a little bit more time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read a tribute, or at least portions of a tribute that I wrote. You can find the tribute at takenotetroop.org, and that's a location that if you have any memories about Jeremy, if you knew him, we'd like you to go there to comment about it. You can also, whether you knew Jeremy or not, you can also comment on this video. If you have any thoughts about the process, if you have any thoughts about Jeremy or any memories, then that'd be really awesome. That's going to be a nice place to package those over there on takenotetroop.org. So please go there. But if you are a bystander and you want to, give some thoughts or advice, or if you'd lost a loved one and you had some skill that helped you to bring peace and happiness during that time, then this is the place. This is the Happiness Playbook. So thank you for that. Jeremy Lapointe, builder of monuments. I've told the story of meeting Jeremy Lapointe many times. Compared to others I meet, I always believed our meeting was a monumental occasion. I came to find out later that he really could and did build his own monuments. These can be found in our theater, one I'll show you in a little bit. And most are the monuments he built out of us. May we always look at his handiwork and remember how he touched our lives. I met Jeremy through his incredible daughter, Izzy. She was taking a stagecraft class from me where I attempted to teach her how to use a drill. To my astonishment, She knew how to use the drill and kindly asked me to step aside so she could fix the mistakes I had made. To increase my embarrassment, Izzy explained to the class that I had the wrong tool after all and that her dad had the right tool to finish the job. Izzy loves making me feel this way, and Jeremy couldn't be more proud of her for it. A few weeks later, Izzy arrived with 3 gears carved perfectly out of wood to fit right into our staging of Willy Wonka. Jeremy had made these, and they were perfect for what we needed at the time. He just heard that of what kind of staging we were doing, and he did that project at home without even asking. I knew that I had to meet Jeremy in person, and so we did. At that moment, an unlikely friendship between a boy in his 20s and a man in his 40s began. He began devoting his time to TNT, always letting me know that if I ever needed anything built, he would find a way to build it. I took him up on that offer many times, and he always showed up to help, often accompanied by his daughters, wife, dog, and every so often, his parents or in-laws. I loved those long nights of challenging work, especially when his family showed up. Jeremy loved working with company. Eventually, he took on leadership with the stagecraft class, where he led youth in creating sets, props, and stage extensions, and of course, the famous risers and tech booth. His daughters helped lead these various efforts. Jeremy worked one-on-one with the youth to help them find pride in their accomplishments and would try to avoid credit, knowing it meant much more to those students. He was careful not to point out the flaws in the students, always reminding me how important it was to build their confidence. If a mistake was big, he would fix it himself rather than causing embarrassment to the student. Even if a mistake was big, he would fix it. Sorry, I already read that. Even if it meant staying till midnight on Friday evening. Nothing excited him more than a student taking pride in their own work. One day, Jeremy came to help me with a project at our building. He revealed to me that he had lost his job. Though the circumstances were tough, he accepted the situation and built on it, saying, "Well, now I have plenty of time to be with my family and serve TNT." Jeremy did find hard work as a handyman, and I'm sure it was his favorite job he had ever done. Jeremy and his wife showed TNT how powerful the united efforts of one family can be. They are the family of costume designers, crafters, prop designers, technicians, performers, and builders. Before I knew Jeremy, I had been praying fervently for someone to show up and fill a gap I could not fill at TNT. Jeremy filled the gap I could not fill and more. I wish I told them that, but I think he knew. Jeremy and I shared the same religious beliefs. I know that his Savior is filling the gaps he could never fill. Jeremy was, is, and always will be my hero. Jeremy Lapointe, the builder of monuments. As soon as we met, we had just become best friends. I just don't know what it was. It was just, he showed up and I remembered that. I don't really remember when I meet people sometimes. It's kind of embarrassing to me, but that was just one of those stories. I always remember every moment with the Lapointe family, you know? He was always so proud of his daughters. And oftentimes when I needed help and I said, "Hey, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to use these tools." He would say, "Okay, Emmy's on her way," or "Izzy's on her way." And so he'd send his daughter, younger than me. And I was just so impressed. I've never seen a man teach his family the way he taught his family. He always wanted them to know good skills that would help them in their life. And one of those skills was serving here on the podcast. His daughters have been the ones behind my cameras. They're not here today, and they haven't been for the last few podcasts. And I don't know why. at the time, or I didn't know why at the time, that I didn't think to invite them. Well, I did think to invite them, but I chose not to. I just thought, maybe there's something else they have going on in their life. And I'm so glad that the Spirit was with me to let me know that they needed more time with their dad. They needed more time with their family. And I hope they come back to help. He was so happy that they would help, and they were learning, how to use a camera and all this audio equipment. And I was always bossing them around. He always told me to boss them around. And I don't think they liked that, but he sure did. He liked teasing people, and he liked, that was his way of showing love, and he was always building people up. So I want to show you a monument that he built for us and talk about that for just a little bit. And then we'll wrap up with some application, because Jeremy believed that happiness is a skill and not a circumstance. This is a tough circumstance. It's especially tough for me. But I'm going to honor him by living what he believed, which is that you have control. You have choice in your life, and those choices can lead you to happiness. So here's his monument. These are the risers that he built with the youth. And every time there was some accomplishment, he always found a way to point it to the youth. He found that it was more worth it to them. He built many things for us. He built a side stage. He put metal on our flats. And at least he had all the ideas for these things. A lot of the time he would have a youth helping him do it. He knew it was harder. He knew it was harder to teach someone else to do the job when he could do it himself so much easier. But he loved helping them. He loved helping them learn. And that's what our theater here has always been about. It's always been a youth development program. He knew that. And he knew that happiness could be found in that, in learning these skills. He always asked what was needed. If there was anything that needed to be fixed, he always asked what was needed, and most of the time it was to build confidence. He knew that one-on-one work with youth was to build confidence. He was incredibly skilled and incredibly creative, and he always had the right solution to any of the problems, And so today I want to dedicate this memorial, this monument that he built for us, and all the signatures that the youth put on it that are underneath. I want to dedicate this to Jeremy in his memory, and just out of love for him. So thank you, Jeremy, and thanks for building our program. Thanks for building us. He wasn't just one-on-one with the youth either. There were countless times when I had a problem, or I was doing my job and I would say to Jeremy, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And he'd say, of course you can. You're the only one who can. He just always found the one. And I never thought it'd be me. I always thought I'm the one who's helping others, But he saw me. He saw me like no one else saw me. And I'll forever love him for that. He'll always be my hero for that. So I'm also dedicating this episode to him. I dedicate this channel to him. And I dedicate myself to living in his memory and following his lead. He's still leading us. There's so many things to share. And so once again, I invite you, if you have a thought about Jeremy, or you have something that you loved about him and you knew him, then go over to takenotetroop.org, leave a comment there. Also leave something here if you feel like there's something that helps you to to bring you happiness in trials and tribulations. Well, it wouldn't be the Happiness Playbook, and this wouldn't be a true tribute to Jeremy if we didn't have some kind of life application. This is the play of the week, okay? I want you to find someone in your life who needs you. I want you to help them. I want you to build them up, just like Jeremy would. And if you're having trouble finding out who that person is, you just have to ask this question. Who do you know that needs your special influence? You'll find somebody, you will. And it doesn't have to be someone who is in utter pain and anguish. It could be anybody. We all need people in our lives. We just need the camaraderie. We need community. So I want you to be that someone that you've needed in the past. Maybe it's just buying something for somebody, or, like giving them a little bit of time, or just showing up, knocking on their door, and or texting and saying to someone that you love, "Oh, I sure love you. I'd like to see you." That's enough. I don't think there's a single thing that Jeremy did where he was like, I'm going to put together this massive party for somebody, or he didn't function like that. He just looked, he observed, and if he saw that someone was in need, he would make his way over. He was not embarrassed at all. He was not embarrassed to show up and just be there, and if it meant it was at his expense, he'd make a fool of himself, but it was so that he could make you a better person, and he could build a monument out of you. When I say he builds a monument out of you, it's because he's touched our lives. If he's touched your life, then you're a monument. You are someone who can pass on his legacy by remembering him and sharing about him and loving his family. I believe that Jeremy is in a state of paradise, and I'm not the judge of his salvation or the master of his salvation. I'll leave that up to his Heavenly Father in Jesus Christ. But he had charity. He loved people. And if you have charity, you have everything. And it's my testimony that he is in paradise. So let's love others the way that he would love. Let's be like our Savior, who loved without needing anything in return. I think Jeremy understood that. And once again, if this has inspired you in any way, please consider donating to the family. And you can find that in the link below. And I'm sure you can find that on the blog post as well at takenotetroop.org. Anything helps. Anything helps. And it just would mean so much to me if you gave something. And there's nothing that can fix it for their family, but man, that would help. And remember that happiness is not a circumstance. It's a skill, and skills take practice. And we will see you next week on the Happiness Playbook.